Okay. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. We're gonna start with a prayer. Can you see me, Sakaya? Okay, great. Okay, great. And I will take out the subtitles in a minute. At least we have what's gonna happen. At least viewers can actually see, the title of the parashat. And a few moments, let me just connect real quick here. And okay, so let's start with a prayer. Okay, let's pray. Baruch atah Yahweh, Boreinu melech haolam, asher kadishanu b'mitzvotah, b'tzivanu noten chatocha. Yahweh, King of the universe, you have entrusted us with your Torah. We ask you again that we are reinstating the Shabbat conference. And we are glad to be back and better than before with the Ruach, with the Spirit that you have given us to continue no matter what. And so we ask you to give us the knowledge encoded in your Torah. We ask all these things in the Sekedim of Yisra'il, in the Tzadikim, Yeshua Mashiach, Emet. Amen. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. We are back to the Shabbat Shalom, and we are back again to the Shabbat Torah conference. And in this Sefer, this book of Bamidbar, we will see a little bit of a presentation why the Torah opens this book with the word Bamidbar. I know it's in the regular Bibles, quote unquote, it is titled as the book of Numbers. And in a way, that's totally okay. But in reality, is the word Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness. And there is a good reason why the Creator encoded this as the book of Bamidbar, all the wilderness. Now, we all know that since ancient times, our forefathers, they were titled as nomads. People who were from one place, setting to another place, and moving to another place, and they were from one place to another place, and the title is nomads. They were not settled as a city. What would be one of the cities back in the time of Abraham or Jacob? One of the cities, I'll mention one. It is actually a name as a gas station, Chevron, right? Chevron means Hebron. The word Chevron, like the gas station, Chevron, it's actually the word Hebron in Hebrew. That's the city of Hebron. And Judah, one of the tribes of Judah, his son lived in Hebron before he moved out of the house of his house, the house of his father. And then he moved back again a little later when Joseph brought all of them together to Yisra'il. But Hebron happens to be one city, and we can tell that city was stable. They couldn't move because it was placed as a city. But in the wilderness, it was always referred as people who lived in the wilderness from one place to another place. And this is very interesting because we have to understand why the Torah is called Bamidbar, into the wilderness. Now, let's go to a little bit here. Brother's gonna come out with the titles here. Take the titles off so you guys can see pretty much the whole view. And as I mentioned before, it's very important for us to have in mind that these things happen for a reason and why the Torah says these things. So let me just remove Okay, now it's taken out. Now, if you can see Parashat Bamidbar in the wilderness, we can see that it's, every time we think of a wilderness, it's not the way we are being thought in the Western mind. The Western mind is usually as something deserted, something that is just sand. But in reality, the Bamidbar, the wilderness, is basically a lot of animal life, which is basically foxes, shackles, or jackals, they call them in English. And we can see basically everything that as we know as far as animal life. And it's not just sand, it's actually trees. We can actually see a picture of the wilderness here. Now, it is very interesting that in this parasha is called the wilderness or the Bamidbar. But let's take a quick look of something very important. In order for you to get from point A to point B, you actually need, what do you need? Directions. You need a map, of course, but you need directions to get one place to another place. And it is very interesting. Remember this, the Hebrew doesn't work as the Western mind works. The Western mind is basically, you and I are being taught as far as not the literally speaking, but the abstract of the word. The abstract is what we've been calling us for so long: faith, law, justice, and so forth. But if you really think about it, all those are abstract words. The Hebrew doesn't work that way. It works in the very literally way, something that our forefathers see, touched, feel. But not in the sense of the picture, but in the sense of the action. Okay? So we will see these things. And for the direction or the map for getting to point A to point B, we need some kind of a direction how to get to that place where we're heading to. So just keep this in mind, how the Creator speaks to his children, especially on the wilderness. Now, let's go into, brother's gonna pinpoint the PowerPoint. We see the entire Western world the way they've been teaching us for a while. Every time we hear law, judgment, justice, commandments, evil, and repent, all those are abstract words. Abstract is something that you cannot see, feel, touch, or eat. Everything is abstract. Now, the word wilderness is in Hebrew, okay, and we're gonna get into a little bit into that, so we have an idea of how the Hebrew works, and we're gonna get into a little bit of Paleo Hebrew as well. Now, let's see a little bit of the word wilderness, okay, and we're gonna see something very important here, okay, before I get into that. The word what do you call the word in Hebrew? Davar, right? Davar, right? The word, right? This, which is Dalet, Bet, what else? Resh, okay? Davar. And if you add, what word is this? Mem. Midbar, okay? Davar, Midbar, Midbar, the wilderness, Midbar, or Dabar is a word. Do you see the difference between those two? There is no difference. There is something encoded into there. Why? Because if you see the whole alphabet of words, it's a conjunction, or how can I say this? It's so many words, so many letters compound to the whole alphabet. But the whole alphabet, if you put them together, like the word to create, okay, barach, which is to create, okay, then it comes from the whole alphabet words. The same thing is the wilderness. The wilderness is a place of order. It's not a place of disorder. It's a place of order because everything is ordained there. I'll give an example. Every year, I'm gonna repeat it again. Every year, thousands and thousands of people go out of the city to where? Where? Because they want to get out of the, traffic and the mumbo and jumbo and everything that's going to happen is happening here in the city. Why? Why everybody wants to get out of the city? Because everything is disordered. Everything is a mess. You see sirens going off, and you see people wailing, people crying, people just, there's total disorder. Every year, people want to get out of the city because they want to have peace in mind. So they usually go where? To the wilderness. I'll give an example, to Yosemite. We usually go a lot of places, a lot of camps, a lot of places where the government has created these places so you can have peace of mind. That's basically the wilderness. So in other words, we would just want to have a peace of mind, in other words. And the word wilderness and word has the same similarities because the word is a compound faction of words that you put something together. The same thing as the wilderness. The wilderness is a place of order. And the bar, we can see it here, the word. Which one is this one? This is a dalet, right? And the other word is, the last one is dalet, and the last one is resh. Now, dalet and resh. If you put dalet and resh, okay, if you put the first word, let me go back. If you put the first word, which is dalet, and resh together, not taking this one, just dalet and resh, you get dur. You get the word dur. Dur means round, to circle. Round, round, or circle. That's what dur means. Ki yedatit leman asher yeshaweh et bana wa et betov acharab wemanehru derech Yahweh la asot tzedakah amishpach, which means, for I have found him so that they commands his children and his household after him to guard the way of Yahweh, to do the righteousness and right ruling, so that Yahweh brings to Abraham that he has spoken to him. Why did I bring this up? Why did I bring this verse? Because here you can actually see something encoded in there, something amazing, just in one verse, and we will see about it. Now let's go into breaking the words in the same word. We're gonna see quite a few words. The first one is to know, or known. Second is order. Third is God. The fourth is way. And the fifth will be the name of the Creator, Yahweh. Justice and ordinance. About 6 words. The first one is to know. What do we know about the word to know? To know someone. Every time we see people, it says, oh, I know him. Do you really know him? We just see him that, but we don't really quite know him. We just know his name. But we refer in the Torah context of the word to know is a little bit more in-depth, to know someone. So when the Creator said, for I really literally know him, it means something a little bit more in-depth, more deeper than just the word knowing someone. Now the word knowing or to know is the word yada. Yada, it has the Paleo-Hebrew word, right? Let's see a verse, Bereshit or Genesis chapter 4 verse 1. And look at what it says there. And Adam knew who? Hawa, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain. What did Adam did to Hawa? She knew her more intimately. You see that? So let's break down the word. The word to know, we have the word. Which one is this one? Dalet. And which one is? Ayim. Dalet and Ayim. The Dalet is the door, and the Ayim is the eye. So what is the word is trying to tell us? The first one is the door, and the other one is the eye. Intimately and ultimately to know someone. Intimately and ultimately to know someone. That's what this word, the Dalet and the Ayin means. This is a door to know someone more in depth. And we just saw a verse with Adam and Hawa, how he knew her. We go into Rapha'Yah, the book of Matthew, and it says that after Mashiach was born, then Yosef knew his wife. Afterwards, after Mashiach was born, he said then he knew his wife. And that's why his title Mashiach is the firstborn and the only begotten son. Begotten son because of the father, and the firstborn because he was the first one of many of the brothers in the flesh. Now, let's see the other word in that verse that we saw. To command. The first one is to know, right? This one is to command. The word is to command or order. Now we see, what do we see here? What do we see here? What word is this one? Sade. Sade, right? Okay, but what does it look like? Like a road, right? Like a road. So why is it telling you that? Let's see that. The word tzedakah means to provide directions for the road. That's what it means. The word tzedakah, literally speaking, in the Paleo-Hebrew or the Paleo-Hebrew for that matter, is to provide directions for the road. Do you see how the difference between the abstract and the actual word in Paleo-Hebrew? We understand better in the Paleo-Hebrew what is the Creator is trying to tell us. Because remember this, that our forefathers were nomads. Every time the Creator spoke to them, they had to relay something what they did every single day. So tzedakah means to provide directions for the road. Why? Because you see the road here, and it's up somewhere. We'll get to that a little later. Now, Devarim or book of Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 19. Then we set out from Oreb as Yahweh our Almighty had what? Directed us. You see that? Very, very straight up word. Then we set out from Horeb as Yahweh our Creator have directed us. How he would give directions? Not just as a mitzvot, but literally directing how where to go in the wilderness. So it's something very important there. I'm telling you that this book of Bamidbar, especially the first affair, the first parashat, it's very, very interesting. Now, to provide directions for the road, we see another one here. Which one is this one? This is Mayim. This is the word Mayim. Okay? So, Ma tzedakah. Okay? So, and it is a righteousness for us when we guard to do all his mitzvot before Yahweh. And it is righteousness for us when we guard to do all these mitzvot or directions before Yahweh. You see that? Directions. It's more understandable. We guard all these directions. Now, let's see a few verses. We're going to see the difference between guard and disobey. Two different things. One is the opposite the other one. 29 verse 9 of Devarim, or book of Deuteronomy. Therefore you should guard the words of this covenant. What does it mean when we say we should guard the words of this covenant? What does it mean by that? We're going to pause here. The conference, since we are in the conference, I'm going to allow, to participate, please, because this is what it is for. Sakaya, so what does it mean to guard the words of this covenant? Can you give me an input, or how many of us do we have in the conference call?
We have 5 of us.
Okay, great. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to all of you. I'm going to have you participate because that's what this conference is for. What does it mean when the Creator said, therefore you should guard the words of this covenant? What does it mean by that? I want you to elaborate this because I just don't want to be the only one. Go ahead.
Well, to guard would be to protect it and to keep it and to be an example of it. Direction.
Very good. Very, very good. Any other thoughts from the rest of the group?
They might be muted.
Okay, great. So you said that to guard is to protect. Is that what it is? To protect. And what else? What was the other word that you used?
To keep the directions and to be an example.
Great, great. That's pretty much it. To guard means to protect. I'll give an example. If I tell anybody here on the synagogue or anybody else at home perhaps, and I said, look, I'm going out of town, but this door used to be closed. I have something precious in there. I'm giving you the key, so I want you to protect it. I want you to guard it. Okay? Or I'll give another example. I'll give you a very, very important piece of content. It could be a box. And I said the same thing. I'm going out of town. I want you to guard it for me. I want you to keep it for me. Protect it. What will you do if I tell you that? If I'm going out of town for 1 week, what will you do? Will you protect it? Will you keep it safe? What will you do with it? The obvious thing is that you will protect what I'm giving you. Because obviously I'm giving it to you because you seem to be having something very valuable. Something that has value on it. And that's the word that the Creator is using here. The word to guard is to protect. To put thorns around it. For example, do you know that the acacia wood, the acacia wood, tree had thorns on it. You know the acacia wood, right? That's where they made the ark. That was made of acacia wood. So the acacia wood, if you see the tree, it has a lot of thorns on it. The amazing thing is that when the Creator said to guard it, usually they used to put like a lot of what do you call this? Thorns on it, so they can keep it from the animals. To keep it around it, to keep it from animals, that means to protect it. The same things here. The Creator said you should protect what I'm giving you. It's a covenant that you should protect from not just right now, forever and ever, to guard it. But do you see the difference right here? Brother's going to pinpoint there. 31 verse 16. And let's say the opposite. Disobey. And these people should rise and whore after the Elohim, the demons of the strangers of the land, into the midst of which they shall enter. They forsake me, and what else? And broke or break my covenant which I have made with them. Now let's see what break means. To disobey or break. I'm going to ask you again, what is the meaning of the word break? Okay, there you go. What do you understand about to break or disobey? Go ahead.
Well, to break something can be to destroy it.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Anything else? Anybody else in the group? Okay. So to break is to destroy. Okay. That's a good thought. But let's give a more realistic word. To disobey, to break, to destroy, because in a way that's true, is to destroy. But I'll give an example. Remember we were talking about to guard something? Is to protect, right? To protect. But if I said to the person, can you protect it? Can you guard it? Can you keep an eye on it? Nothing's happening with it. Did you imagine if all the words that I said to the person to keep it safe, in other words, he does the opposite. He doesn't really care what I said. He says, okay, he just put it there. I don't really care. So he start probably playing with it, okay, to the point that he just trample on it. He just literally trample. He just mess with it. He just step on it. He just trample. The word that he's using, the Pali Hebrew, is to trample on it, to just step on it. There is no value whatsoever. So do you notice how the Creator says the one thing and sees the opposite? To guard means to protect, to keep safe, to continue it. But you see, this word disobey is to literally trample on it, to step on it. Don't mean anything to you. And that's what's happening here, what the people did later when he profaned, by following what? Elohims right there. Demons, idols. That's how they broke and they literally destroy and trample the Torah. Now, let's look into two things. To abolish it, yeah, that's true. To abolish it. Now, let's look at these two contracts. The first one is to break or disobey. The word is parar, okay? Age 65, which means to trampled. And now we see the opposite, which is the right one, is to obey or guard. It means to preserve. Do you see that? To preserve the Torah, to preserve it. You preserving the Torah. Our forefathers were preserving that through generations. It was passed on to another generation. In another generation, it was preserved. And the word is shamar. HA108. You see that? Shamar and parar. One different from the other one. Now, let's look at the word obey or guard, preserve, shamar. And now, let's look a little into it, to the word shamar, okay? Let's look a little bit more in depth into the Pali Hebrew. Is to maintain the what? The way, maintain the path, the journey, the road, in other words. Okay? The word shamar, which means to maintain. My question is to all of you, whoever here, whatever on the internet watching or the conference, what is the word maintain means? To maintain something. What does it mean by that? I'm gonna give you this picture. Think about it. If I ask you to maintain the road, what do you need to do to maintain the road, the journey, the way? Huh? They are saying to walk in it, to walk on it. How do you maintain the path? To maintain it is to walk every single day, right? The Yahweh says the same thing. I want you to maintain my mitzvot, my directions. The only way to maintain it will be to walk every single day in it. What happens if we stop walking in it? This is going to happen. This is going to happen. It's going to disappear. It's going to disappear completely. You see that? Put it back again. If the Creator said for us to maintain, to guard the Torah every day, meaning to walk in it, to walk. Do you see how literally the Paleo Hebrew is talking to us? He's literally saying to walk in it. You see how the Creator said to maintain the road is to walk every single day, because if we don't maintain it, this is going to happen. She's going to disappear. Not only that, we're just going to forget where the road was. What happened to our forefathers? They forgot the directions. You see that? They forgot the road. They didn't know where it was. They totally forgot. We don't know where it is. That's why in the book of Yisra'il, in the book of Isaiah, I believe, where it says, walk in the older, on the ancient pathways, right? And see which one is the right one. See that? The right one is the Torah. Exodus or Shemot 18 verse 20, and you enlighten them concerning the laws or the Torah, mitzvot, and the Torot or the Torah, and show them the way in which they should walk in the work which they do. Do you see that? Walk and what else? Do. It's not just walking, it's not just believing. You need to walk and do it. It's something that the Creator is always he's been there in the Torah the entire time. The Creator said for us to not just to believe, to walk, but is to do the action. And he's very straight up when he talks about it. Now let's see what this word, the way, okay, which is derech, path, okay. Now let's look at this word, because we're going one by one in that verse, right? Now we got to the word Yahweh, the name of Yahweh. Yod, He, Wad, He, right? Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. Exodus or Shemot 3:13. And Moshe said to the Almighty, see, when I come to the children of Yisra'il and say to them, the Almighty of your forefathers hath sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? What should I say to them? What is his name? What should I say to them? That's what Moshe inquired and asked Kadosh Baruch Hu, what should I say to them? This is the word asher, ayed, which means I am that exists because I exist. I am that exists because I exist. I am that I am, in other words. But it's more explicit if you just put it like this. And then we know that he said, Yahweh has sent me. He actually mentioned the name. Now, to do, the word to do now, remember we're going one by one on those words. The word is asa. When was the first time that man experienced the sin? When was the first time that man experienced sin? It's a question to all of you. When?
Ate of the fruit of the tree.
What? Can you say that one more time?
When Eve, or I'm not sure what you call her name, but she was tempted and ate of the forbidden fruit.
Great. It's Hava. Eve, Hava. So, yes, the first time that man experienced the thorn, right? Experienced the thorn. Okay? Do you see that? Let me just come a little bit this way. What is this word here? The left, the right one. I am, right? And this one is? Shin. Okay, Ayin and Sin. Sin or Shin. Okay? Ayin and Shin. The first one is the eye, the other one is? It looks like antenna, right? A digital antenna, right? Well, it means thorn. Eye, which is the eye, or experience the thorn. Experience the thorn. Who was the one who experienced the thorn? Zechariah just said it. It was man, Hava and Eve. That was the first time they experienced the thorn. Now we see here the thorns. Let's look at the 3:18. And the ground shall bring forth what? Thorns and thistles for you, and shall eat the plants of the field. See that? That was the first time they experienced the thorns there. Now, let's look at what it says. Walk or follow the pathway. Walk or follow the pathway. Okay, so experience the thorn, sin and eyeing, or eyeing and sin. And we already see what this word means. We see that this first time they experienced the sin was the first time in the garden. So walk or follow the pathway. Walk or follow the pathway. Now, let's look at the word justice. Okay, I'm sorry, it's just justice. In the book of Devarim, or book of Deuteronomy 6:25, and it is a righteousness for us when we guard to do all these mitzvahs before Yahweh our Almighty, as He has commanded us. It is righteousness for us. Now let's look at word righteousness. The righteousness means what? Tzedakah, right? Okay, so the tzedakah is the correct path. Okay, tzedakah means the correct path. Now, when we enter here, what is it anyways? Is that a path? Is that a way? Okay, so what is this up here? It's like a dead end? Dead end, but in reality you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice. If you're walking, if you're going to a path or any way, and you're driving, and you're going on a dead end, but the end is usually you have to make a right. It's not a dead end. It just doesn't go straight anymore. You're going to have to make a decision to make a left or to make a right. Am I right? Am I wrong? It is. That's the way it is. So the Creator said, you're going to have to make a choice. When you do the tzedakah, you're going to have to make a choice to do evil or to do good. To do the goodness or to do the opposite. And that's when we said, I put in front of you the life and the death, blessings and cursings, life and death. This is what happened here. The Creator is giving you the choice. Which one do you want? You want to make a right? Or you want to make a left? But we must walk in this path. We must. Now, the correct path, 625. And it is the correct path. Do you see that right here? And it is righteousness. That's the abstract word, okay? It is righteousness. We understand it, but let's get into the Paleo Hebrew to understand better. The correct path. So it should say like this, and it is the correct way or pathway for us when we guard to do all the mitzvot before Yahweh, our Almighty, as He has commanded us. You see that? It is the correct path. When do we choose the correct path? When we make a right. When we go into the right hand, which is choosing life. Now, yes. Hold on a minute. Give me a second. Go ahead.
That righteousness means the correct path?
Yes. Right in the Paleo Hebrew means to the correct path that you have chosen. When you do I'll give an example, and I'll elaborate a little bit more into that. When you do righteousness, it's because not for your own righteousness. The book of Ezekiel, it says that the Creator, yes, we do things that means for righteousness, but the correct path or the correct righteousness should be the one from the Creator, not our own righteousness. Remember that? It's not our own righteousness. The righteousness is supposed to be according to the Torah, according to the Creator. And we must choose to do good. Because in this path of knowing the Torah, the Emet, one way or other, you're going to have to make your decision. We're supposed to be continue on that path. But always on that path, there is something that is always making us yield to another different pathway. So we're going to have to make a decision. And that's what is called the correct path. And that's what I was about to mention there. Go ahead.
Go ahead and fix your speaker.
Okay, so here the brother is going to pinpoint the PowerPoint. Daniel. So, if you notice here the arrow, do you notice where the arrow is going to go through? Usually, we're going to have to make a decision here. When we go here, either going to make a left or right, we're going to have to make a decision there. Remember, our forefathers were the same thing. They live as nomads, and they had to make a choice when they were heading somewhere, either to make a left or right. I'll give an example. Remember when Abraham said to, who was his nephew? Lot. Wasn't his nephew Lot? Okay, he said, look, we can get along. Our family is always fighting and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to have to make a choice. We are in the same team, but we're going to have to make a choice. Choose. I'll leave you to choose. I'll give you the upper hand. I'll give you the whatever you want. What do you want? He says, I want the greener path. Okay, well then go that way, and I'll go to where? to the opposite. I'll go to the opposite. We're going to have to make a decision here because we can't just leave anymore. They had to make a decision. Same thing here. We have to make a decision. Where are we going to go to? And that decision is always, according to the Torah, Yahweh says we should choose life. He's giving us the advice. Choose life. So your generations will also have life as well. Now, before I end this, I want to allow a couple of questions, and before that, I want to go back a little bit. I don't want to lose this. It's very important. Now, okay, so the brother is gonna pinpoint the PowerPoint. If you guys see in the path here, what did we say earlier? That if we don't walk in the path, what would happen? It just closes. It just disappears. So let's say, just for the sake of understanding the opposite of the word tzedakah, we know that the Creator said to walk in His path, in His Torah, right? That's what the Torah says. Walk in my way, my pathway. Walk in the Torah. So, what would happen if somebody walks out of the path? He's walking every day, but what happens to the one that walks off the path? What do you call him? Okay, hold on. Let me put it on speaker here. Go ahead, Sakaya.
We get lost, and I don't know about everybody else, but if I get lost, I get anxious and I lose my shalom.
Very good, very good. You know, in reality, that's what it is. You get just lost. But the actual word in Hebrew is rasha. When you walk in the path, and the Creator said, walk in my ways, walk in my righteous path. You are to do tzedakah, you are to choose good. But when you walk off the pathway, and Sakaya said, you just lost. And it's true, you are lost. But the actual word is, what did I say earlier? Rasha. Rasha is translated to English or Spanish as evildoers or sinners. Or somebody who trample, the Torah, doesn't really care about the Torah. That's what it means. To somebody to walk off the pathway is somebody to do just the opposite of Torah, to be a rasha. Don't really care anything about it. Just lost, as Sakaya said. So I just want to point that out because I almost forgot. But it is very important that this parasha really open our minds to understand why the Creator says certain things and why the numbers of the tribes of Yisra'il were in a way set up like that, set up as groups. There were 12 groups, okay, 12 tribes, and each one of the tribes had, what did they have in their banner? What did they have as a banner? A sign, an ensign. There were four groups, right, around the Mishkan, but there were 12 tribes. Well, I'm sorry about that. There were 12 tribes, okay? There were 12 tribes, and out of the 12 tribes, they were split into 4 around the Mishkan as we know it, But also it's very important that not only that, but every tribe had an ensign, a sign. Okay? The first one, of course, was Judah, Yehudah. What sign was it? Huh? Okay, those who remember that, what sign was it? It was a lion. As the sister said. I thought you said caballo. Sorry. I thought she said a horse. Sorry. But we know that it was the sign of the lion. We know that it was so many signs around the Mishkan, and now that the Creator's enlightened us through the Torah calendar, we know that these signs were always in front of us. There was their signs and constellations of every single constellation that it's embedded around the earth every year. Every year is a door or a pathway or a gate that he opens every Rosh Chodesh. It's a constellation, always pinpoints to every tribe of Judah, of Yisra'il. Judah is one of them, but we know that it's always pointing to every constellation, every Rosh Chodesh. Every Rosh Chodesh. And it's amazing to know that these things were in front of us the whole time. But now the Creator is opening even more our minds to understand that it was in front of us the whole entire time. Now, before we close, I'm gonna have time for questions or answers or thoughts or opinions. So go ahead, Sakaya, or anybody on the group.
Thank you, Rapha'Yah. This is Zakaya. This was a timely lesson, and I do have a personal, question and example. As you know, my daughter was hit by a truck a couple weeks ago while she was riding her bike, and it really, really threw our family off. And of course, we were in the ICU for a Shabbat, or actually 2 Shabbats. And then when we finally brought her home, that Friday night, she had re-injured her leg, and we had to go to another ER to get her leg checked, and she broke her sutures open. And I was really struggling, with not letting people serve us, really struggling with keeping Shabbat, yet having these medical needs. And I know that you, hold on, my computer is talking to me, hold on. So anyway, I just really struggled with making those right choices. And I just wanted to know, I got really off the path, in my opinion, at least in my heart. And one of the scriptures, Psalm 1 says, if you meditate upon my word day and night, you'll be, kept in perfect peace, and you'll be like a tree planted by the river, always producing its fruit in season. And, I really lost my peace and got really thrown, not only because of the trauma, but because I felt insecure that I was making, wrong choices and didn't know, what choices were right. And so I know that you had said that Yahuwah understands, medical issues and our need to get treatment, but we had also purchased food during that time and, all sorts of stuff. So I was wondering if you could speak to that, and, as far as, we're new to learning Torah, I understand that there's grace to get back on the path, and start doing things, right again. But Yahuwah also seems to be pretty strong in that, we are to guard that path, not get off of it, and life becomes really difficult in your face, and you have to make that choice. Am I going to obey even though it's hard, or am I going to, do what makes life more easy, or what just seems natural to me? I don't know. I guess those are some personal experiences experiences where I feel like, you know, it's a really hard choice to make. and we made the choice, of course, you know, to get our daughter the medical care that she needed, and did our best to keep Shabbat as best we could. But of course, I think, you know, we broke it. So if you could comment, you know, on that, I really appreciate it.
Great. Yes. I am really glad that the Creator allow Hannah to give her another chance, because we all deserve, always, you know, no matter what, the Creator always give us a chance to better our lives, to improve our lives, and I'm really glad that nothing worse, you know, besides the bike that she was into, but in little, you know, things that she went through, but not major as far as anything else. Because believe me, I've seen worse, and so I'm glad that she's back on her feet and trying to better herself with her stitches and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad that just happened only that again. Again, I can say that the Creator, as far as parenthood, as far as fathers, we get this anxiety attack, and we don't know what's going to happen, and our emunah, our fidelity, kind of dismay sometimes, because it's our flesh. It's not somebody else. It's our flesh, our kids, and even our spouses. We are very concerned about it. And like I said, in those kind of times, that's where we need to be stronger. In these kind of times is where we need to put the emunah, the fidelity to work. It's not when we just, you know, everything is cool, everything is fine, everything is awesome. No, it has to be all the time, especially when dark times comes. So we have to. And I'm glad that you hang in there all the way through, Sakaya, with your husband. That I know I can put myself in your shoes, but I can only tell you that the Creator always provides to those who really hang in there. And I don't think He's going to allow a major thing to happen because you want to obey. You want to, what He said, what we saw earlier, obeying, you want to guard. See that? You want to keep, you want to guard that covenant, which is very important. Not everybody does. I'll tell you this, not everybody does. And the Creator knows those little details. He knows them about you, about your husband, about your kids. Your kids are the ones who are learning from you guys. So it is very important for you, both of you, to be the example for them. And that's how it is. They see the example of the fathers and they follow it. But you have to hang in there. And we always praying for you guys. Just because you guys are not here doesn't mean we don't pray for you guys. We are all the time. Even for our brothers here, for their families and so forth, we are always in constant prayers, even in our houses, in our homes. So that doesn't stop. So yes, Sakaya, you are not by yourself. That Yisra'il is right behind you, and we are glad that the Creator is opening the minds, not just you or your husband and your kids, but those who are literally learning more Torah, more the Torah calendar. So that is very important. And these things happen for a reason, to strengthen us more. So I'm glad that everything is fine, everything is, coming along pretty good. And all I can tell you, Sakaya, is to hang in there. Everything is going to be better than it was before. So new things are coming very soon, so we just have to hang in there and continue the work that we already established. So hang in there, Sakaya. Do you guys have any questions concerning the or thoughts or opinions concerning Parashat Bamidbar?
from? I thought it was chapter 5.
No, it's chapter 1, verse 1 through chapter 4, verse 3. Yeah, it's chapter 1 of Parashat Bamidbar. Huh? Okay, it's chapter 1 all the way to chapter 4 at the end of chapter 4. So all 4 chapters, in other words. And next week we're going to start with chapter 5, verse 1. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, they were ahead one parasha, that's why. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Sure. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I can put it like this. Let me just kind of like Brother Daniel is gonna pinpoint at the I'm just trying to put this on here, and so you guys can have a view there. So so we can see here, if you notice here, can you guys see the Mishkan there? Sakaya? Can you puede acercarse un poquito más? Okay, he's going to zoom in a little bit. Now, we can see here that pretty much, let me just switch because this one is not the one I need to put in. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you notice here, this is the east, this is the north, west, south. Okay, in the east we know it was the tribe of Judah, right? This is Yishachar, and it continues all the way. Of course, we know that it is Ephraim on the other side. Continues. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay, can you hear me? Better, right? All right, so now we can see that every tribe was around the Mishkan, and we know that every tribe has a banner. The banner had a sign. The sign was that every constellation, constellation around the earth, around this, what is called the Milky Way, okay? And we know that every constellation pinpoints every Rosh Chodesh. When it opens a portal, and that happens to be a constellation. Now, of course, throughout the years, it's been paganized, and through what they call it the zodiac, which is totally the opposite of what the Creator meant to do to our forefathers. But we know that through the Torah, we know that it pinpoints every tribe of Yisra'il. Remember what Abraham said to to, well, actually the Creator said to Abraham that count the stars if you can. That's how your sons will be, as the stars, he said. But do you notice something very important? He never said, count the moon and the other rest of the moons and the rest of the planets. That's how your seed is going to be. He never said moons, ever. He said stars. The word is or. The word is or. Now, one thing, the wheel within the wheel, we know that around here, okay, this is the wheel around, but we know around in it, the inner wheel was, who was it in there? You guys remember that? Who was the tribes around the Mishkan, inside near the Mishkan? You guys remember that? The which one? It was a Levite's son, right? Okay. Who else? Who was there? It was the Levites, and who else? Because it was not the Levites. It was the Levites, and what else? It was Moshe, Aharon. Yeah, but it was, we have to separate a little bit more, because Moshe was near by the entrance of the Mishkan. In other words, Moshe was up here. The Levites were nearby because there were other from the same tribe. Each one of them had their own assessments, their own duties to do. One is to dismantle the Mishkan, the other one's to carry this, and the other one's to carry that. Each one had their own duties. And of course, the leader, Moshe and Aaron, were like almost at the entrance of the Mishkan. So the wheel within the wheel, inner and then the outer. But amazingly, think about it. Think about it. Besides all the, and it's true what Zechariah said, the wheel within the wheel. Inside was the Levites, Aaron, Moshe. Outside were the tribes. But outside the tribes, who were they? What was in there? Huh? I'm sorry. Yes, but what else? Who else? Who was huh? No, there was the 12 tribes around it. That is a given. But outside the 12 tribes, outside around it, what was outside? The wilderness, yes, but what was outside? What did they carry from the Yisra'il or Egypt? The cattle, the cows, the cattle, everything, because they needed to bring it. And there is a very strategic military, the way was confounded, because let's say for the sake of assessment, let's say they were attacked, okay? Who do you think they were going to get at first? The animals. It was a very strategic, settle, the way they settle. The animals were first outside, then the 12 tribes, then the Levites and Aaron, and then it was just the inner, which is where Kadosh Baruch Hu will be coming down. It was very, like you said, Zechariah, the wheel within the wheel. It was very amazing the way it was settled. Now, I know there is more to it, and this will yield for another Torah lesson, because remember this, we just barely starting the Sefer Bamidbar. So next week we are going to continue this parasha, because it's not just the end, this is the beginning of it. So I will encourage you to study the next parasha. In your case, Zechariah, you already studied it. I'm sorry. Okay. Can you hear me now better? Can you hear me better? Okay, can you hear me? Okay. All right. Okay, sorry, it was connected not the right way. All right. So as I was saying earlier, the way it was compounded on our, as you said, on the parashats, as you already study it, Sakaya, but we were going that way to that parashat, so we will be continue these portions of Torah, and this we're still going to discuss about this. This is not going to be the last one, so we just have to hang in there until next week, and we'll continue the same because there is more to it. There is definitely more to it than just this parashat. This is just like the beginning of it. Okay, so anything else? We're gonna be closing, and I'm gonna give some announcements for next week. We are continue doing these parashats at 3:30. For any case, we'll push it to 4 o'clock, but 3:30 we're doing very good. And I do wanna mention, since Sakaya is on the line, if you wanna say something, Sakaya, about the web page that you want to open, go ahead.
Did you say about the web page?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the plan, Yahuwah willing, is to create our own private web page where Facebook doesn't have any power to block us, like those Rapha'Yah and I had been through and pretty much attacked. And we hopefully will have a profiles and a calendar page where it auto-populates the calendar, and a chat room, where everybody can join, basically have a profile similar to Facebook, and then join the chat room where we can encourage one another. Hopefully we'll be able to connect these video conferences all at that one central location. I mean, this is a vision, but I still am waiting on the callback from the web developer. But we hopefully can move forward with that. Like I said, who is willing, and if he is willing. And I don't know how long this project will take, but, be praying for direction and wisdom, and that we make good decisions going forward, so that we can have uninterrupted fellowship and not have the enemy be in control of whether we can be connected or not connected.
Great. Thank you. And we're willing. These plans will take place, and we just have to hang in there with the plans and continue to spread the Torah as we move along, because King stays steady. We need to move, just as our fathers did with one tent to another tent. We need to do the same thing too. We need to move forward in this path. So we will be closing next Shabbat. Of course, we have this the following parashat, and I will announce it in this minute. And it will be taking place next week. Today's parashat is Bamidbar, right? And next week's parashat, it will be called Naso. I thought you said nice. Sorry. I'm just playing with her. I didn't say Naso. I said nice. I'm sorry. Okay. So moving on. Naso. Now, once again, we have to remember something very important. That we have 6 days of study the parashat. So many days to study, so little time sometimes. So we have to take advantage of the situation that we have at hand. At least 15, 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes is good enough. Okay? Very important. All right, so we are going to be closing with the with a tefillah. So I'm going to ask you to join me with a prayer, okay? Let's pray. Baruch atah Yahweh, Borei melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mizvotav, v'tzivanu noten chatocha. Yahweh, King of the universe, who have entrusted us with your Torah. Once again, we are so happy that you have given us the opportunity to open once again your Torah, to understand the in-depths of your secrets encoded in every single letter. And we know that every letter is life to us. We know that every single verse, every single sefer, book, it opens another world that we yet are just scratching the surface. We ask you to empower us with the enlightenment of your Torah, of chadmat, of knowledge, wisdom, to understand your character. We ask you all this and to continue in this Shabbat. In the Tzadikim of Yisra'il, and mostly in the Tzadikim, Mashiach Yahushua, Amen. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much, Sakaya, and the rest of you. We will continue these Torah portions, which we resuming again to the Torah portions again, because we've been for like 2-3 weeks away, and we are happy to be back and better than ever. So thank you very much, and we'll see ourselves throughout the week on Facebook, of course, but next Shabbat, Yahweh willing, at the same time, 3:30 Pacific time. Thank you. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom.